What's the worst overconsumption trend that you've ever seen? Story 1. Content. There's too many videos. There's too many influencers. There's too many podcasts. There's too many think pieces. There's too many newsletters. And most of it is just trying to get people to buy more shoot. Answer. And most of it is just trying to get people to buy more shoot. The commoditization of the internet is a plague on the planet. The internet used to just be funny pictures videos, people doing cool things, and people talking about things they were interested in. Now it's just a nuclear arms race to see who can make the most money in the most devious, underhanded ways. I fudge dislike it. Story 2. Rage bait cooking channels. So today I'm going to be showing you a simple meal hack to make for your kiddos and hubby. Okay, so first you're gonna want to take a 5-elbow block of cheddar cheese and wrap it in bacon. We know it. It all gets thrown out at the end, and they know that we know, and that's why they keep doing it. Answer. They also dirty an ungodly amount of dishes to showcase each individual ingredient in its own bowl before making some inedible concoction in a giant baking pan. It's done irreparable damage to my roommate, who insists on using 1,000,000 dishes while she cooks, and then has to plate everything separate as well because we aren't allowed to scoop anything out of the pan something was cooked in. If she even wants chips or anything else, she has to get at least 3 dishes to eat from. Story 3. Those aesthetic influencer videos where they have 1,000,000 little samples of products and a bunch of disposable crap. Restocking the guest bathroom with a bunch of disposable tiny face sponges. Mini hotel-sized samples of products. Dozens of tiny highlighters, etc. Just get a normal-sized bottle of product and some reusable cloth face wipes. Story 4. I don't like the videos where people do shoot like we're making crazy nachos, and they pour like 80 lil Bs of food on the table for about 4 people, and you know it all goes in the trash. Story 5. Come restock XYZ with me. You are about to see more plastic that will be in a landfill within a year than you've ever seen before. Story 6. The entire industrial world is designed to make you buy again and again. Things used to last. Anyone old enough to have ever seen the old pantyhose? My grandmother still had a pair from 20 years earlier when I was young. They never got a run. Answer. Also, beyond things being designed to fail, we've also been psychologically trained to always need to buy more stuff. From Amazon, Temu, Shein, Wish normalizing random junk being delivered to your house on a whim, to Apple convincing you need to upgrade your black rectangle because the new version is thinner or has rounder corners, which are clearly better, or more squared-off corners, which are clearly better. Story 7. Anything that you literally don't need more than one or a couple of. Stanley cups, Squishmallows, etc. I bought a Stanley cup, picked out a color I liked, and got one for hydrating at work. Just one. I know women who have one in every available color. Why? Answer. I agree. My problem is I went and purchased the exact one I wanted. But now is I keep getting various yet a Stanley, whatever metal cups in other ways. From work, gifted from others, random swag, IDK. But now I have so many that I wish I hadn't purchased the original one. I will say there is a valid reason to have more than one in different sizes. I'm not going to drink a latte out of the 40 Oz one I use for water, for example, and I guess the wine one isn't terrible in the summer for keeping things temp-controlled, but I still have way too many. Story 8. The restock my fridge or makeup drawer videos where they show they've purchased 80 gazillion individually wrapped thingies instead of just a big bag of thingies, like a box of individually wrapped apple slices or makeup remover pads, etc. So much packaging waste, it depresses me. Story 9. Cosmetics. You do not need a 15-step night routine with 34 products, especially ones that contain a huge amount of single-use items like face masks. It's disgusting how normalized it is. Answer: the funny thing is less is more when it comes to skincare. My mom is an esthetician, and when I was having terrible skin issues, she said it was because I used too many products. I switched to a cleanser, toner, moisturizer with SPF and tretinoin, and my skin is better than when I had a 20-step skin routine. Too many products strips away the oils and ruins your skin barrier, and then it becomes a vicious cycle. Story 10. Hauls or collections of the same article of clothing. A lot of young women are very wrapped up in this bullshit right now, and it's all because of social media and influencers. I can't wait for influencer culture to be over. Story 11. Those girls on TikToks who have 50 Stanley Cups and pack them like they're heading off to invade Russia in the winter. Story 12. Decantering items that already are in a container. Like a gallon of milk decanted into a glass bottle for the looks. What a waste. Answer: my mom does this, but with everything. Basically takes products out of their perfectly fine packaging to put them in plastic containers or even Ziploc bags, which creates even more waste. She even cuts chip bags down instead of just rolling it up, then clipping. Literally everything she does is straight up time waste, from simply speaking with her to everyday things that she always overcomplicates. Story 13. 90 of kids' toys. All plastic crap that they play with once and it either breaks or the child moves on to the next thing. Answer: this. I had plenty of toys growing up, but I had blocks, Legos, and G.I. Joes that you could rip apart and put their limbs back on. I rarely had a toy break irreparably, and all the toys that showed up in commercials were for rich people. Now I look at my sister's house with her 4 kids, and it's absolutely swimming in tiny plastic crap that gets played with once and lost. I tried to only buy them good quality toys for birthdays, but they don't even want them. This isn't to say that tiny plastic crap didn't exist when I was a kid, just that it wasn't as popular. It also seemed to be made of better quality plastic that didn't break with one temper tantrum. Story 14. Any sponsored event merch items, marathons, conventions, etc., usually just useless waste nobody asked for or needs. Story 15. Since the 70s, your job in the Western world as a human has been to consume. Things used to be made to last, but now that makes it impossible to maintain and increase profits. So obsolescence is built in and everything is offered in more varieties than anyone would ever need, so that you can feel you are expressing yourself with your consumption choices. It's no accident that the internet, a technology that was supposed to unite us all, has been turned into a hyper-advanced advertising network that is designed to keep you believing you are expressing yourself by feeding back from an echo chamber of those who already agree with you. Every aspect of your physical and psychological needs have been examined, predicted, and catered to ensure that you keep believing that the most important thing in the world is that you feel okay and that you feel like an individual. The problem with being an individual is that it's fine when things are going well, but when things going badly, you are ultimately alone. Deep down, we know this, so nobody feels okay. We know it's a lie and that it's all just designed to keep us from realizing what we're capable of if we pull together as a civilization. To keep us from giving ourselves up to some bigger purpose that might take power away from those who greedily cling on to it. Story 16. We cheer people who have hundreds of billions of dollars they will never spend while a third of the country starves unhoused. Story 17. Any collection hobby that simply requires you go on Amazon or wherever in order to engage in the hobby. I'm sorry. Buying Funkos or whatever isn't a hobby. You just have a shopping addiction. Story 18. My soon-to-be ex-Mill just bought my 1-year-old a Stanley Cup for her birthday. Her first fudge birthday. I want off this hyper-consumerism dystopian roller coaster. Answer. Dude, my mom did same darn thing. Had my son and she came to visit stay with us for the first month of his life to help out. When she came and got settled, she gave me a congrats present for me and my son, 2 Stanley tumblers. Why? Because one for mama to stay hydrated for breastfeeding and one for baby after he gets off the boob and on the straw. What future toddler needs a 40-oz tumbler? What food-eating toddler drinks that much liquid in a day? Unless something is medically wrong, there's no need to drink that much at 1 to 5 years old. His Stanley has been in our closet for the last 1.5 years. I'll take it out and let him use it when it's more developmentally appropriate. Story 19. Amazon, all of it. Fraud and waste and abuse is so rampant it's crazy. I had no idea the depth of it until I started selling on the platform. People seriously have no shame. It is insane. Story 20. Decorating the inside of your fridge. Nobody cares about your decorative basket full of half-empty sauces and condiments, Rhonda. Story 21. The freaking disposable vapes. Not only are people throwing away the vapes, but there are literal batteries in there that they also toss. It's madness. The least they could do is keep them in a drawer and tell themselves they'll go recycle them. They don't even pretend to care anymore. Answer. I switched to vaping 10 years ago when people stopped using the disposables because the refillable tanks were superior. For a while, disposables were relegated to a tiny shelf in the store, with entire stores dedicated to juice and mods. It's been weird to watch it switch back. Now I can't get replacement coils half the time at my local place, and there's one tiny wall of juice crammed together. I despise the disposables and refuse to use them, but I would not be shocked if there's some kind of lobbying going on with prioritizing the disposables. Story 22. Skincare routines. 95% of the products people use are doing literally nothing or are canceling each other out. I'm so tired of seeing routines with multiple serums, toners, and moisturizers. 3 cleansers and then finishing with facial mists. It's so incredibly wasteful. The plastic packaging, the impacts from shipping this crap all over the place. I'm tired of it. Story 23. I used to be in a Bath and Body Works group on Facebook that was absolutely crazy. A lot of the women in that group had candle rooms with hundreds or thousands of BBW candles, often like 10 of the same scent, just stacked up. Story 24. An influencer I follow has at least 10 of these iPhone chains that look like bracelets. They are $100 a pop, so she has at least 1,000 worth. What are we even doing? Story 25. Those people who have entire rooms filled with 5,000 different foundations, concealers, blushes, etc. Nobody could ever possibly come close to using even a fraction of it before it expires. And it comes with the bonus nightmare of how many women, and honestly even men in the beauty community, have hideous body dysmorphia. Story 26. I warned her against overfeeding it, but my wife fed our pet mantis 3 crickets. It ate all of them and died of overconsumption. Story 27. Fashion. And that covers a broad range of things from people being encouraged to rotate with the season styles to the Shane HMs of the world. Also, disposable vapes. These things are plastic and have batteries in them. Story 28. Vaping sticks getting tossed. I see them all over the place, no deposit, no pickup, but I feel like there's more value in them than a darn soda can, like, aren't those batteries potential fire hazards? Story 29. This Labubu nonsense. Grown adults buying these useless toys for insane amounts of money simply because everyone else has one. I had a split-second urge to use my real adult dollars to buy one of these things the other day, and I had to go touch some grass. Story 30. American politics. I don't know anyone that's immersed who isn't depressed as shoot. Hyper-aggressive social media posts screaming about what the other people are doing and starting unsolicited and uncomfortable conversations with others are very common occurrences. Story 31. Stanleys, and those little accessories people stack on them to make it into a purse and use to pack them. Story 32. Buying big jerk ICE vehicles when they don't actually need something to haul lumber, or a small army of people or people obsessed with old cars with shoot environmental ratings. Story 33. Not really a trend, but videos from Japanese, Korean corner stores have been very trendy the past couple of years, and it kinda blows me away. Like, why is every single item individually wrapped in plastic? Story 34. Go into any Walmart or Target or Kohl's, know that 80 of that shoot is going to end up in the bottom of the ocean. Sad. Story 35. All of the Labubus and Sunny Angels. They're going to be popular for max 3 more months, and then they're all going directly in the trash. Story 36. Investment capitalism punishes companies that make reliable, long-lasting products. Instapot is a good example. Story 37. A lot of them. I already have learned to live with little, and then growing up to be anti-capitalist, I just don't really enjoy buying stuff, just for the sake of it. I understand getting movies and videos, games and stuff, but shoot like Funko Pops, Stanley Cups, Beanie Babies, hell, even microtransactions for digital currency. It boggles my mind why any could give two shoot about those things when they're all chasing a fad. It genuinely is the easiest thing to notice, because if you're not getting anything in return that you can't get anywhere else, it's always doomed to fail. Answer. I had dozens of Beanie Babies as a kid. Still have my favorites, but that was because I loved them as a cute plush toy to play with that came in all sorts of cool animals, and they were cheap enough that family members would pick them up for me as a gift fairly often. None of us ever expected them to be worth any money. I did appreciate the little plastic tag protectors a lot, LOL. Story 38. Buying hundreds of plastic containers you put in your fridge and pantry. You are just taking one plastic container of juice and transferring it to another. You are just taking a cardboard box of cereal and putting it in a plastic bin. Why are you buying so much unnecessary plastic and giving yourself more dishes to wash? So your pantry and fridge look nice? Who the fudge cares? Answer. It depends on the food, and I prefer glass containers. I put rice in a container because the bags are a pain. The container is airtight and easier to open and scoop from. Cereal stays in original packaging because it really shouldn't take more than a week to get through. I get Costco cashews in a big bag, so I like to pour some into a glass airtight jar to keep out, seal the bag, and toss it into the fridge to preserve it. Story 39. I needlepoint as a hobby. There are some people out there who buy so many canvases that they will never stitch, and it's not a cheap hobby either. Story 40. People who are bath body works nuts. They show videos online of their collections, hundreds, sometimes thousands of body lotions and sprays. Come on, who collects that volume of goods when they have expiration dates? I mean, it's like collecting vegetables. The stuff goes bad. Story 41. Blind boxes. I am so sick of everything being a mystery. If I want whatever toy or key ring or pin, just let me buy it. Story 42. The worst overconsumption trend that I see is simply consumption for its own sake, shopping as a pastime, as a family or social activity. I live in Nashville. We used to have a big music-oriented theme park here called Opryland. There was all kinds of music and shows and rides and games and food and more music and more shows. It was beautifully landscaped and lots of fun for everyone. People came from all over to go there. Then some enterprising accountants calculated that they could make more money if they just got rid of all the entertainment and just sold stuff. So they bulldozed that beautiful park and instead built in its place a cheaply constructed but-ugly outlet mall in the middle of a vast parking lot right next to the grand and glorious Opryland Hotel. People still come by the millions just to shop at that stupid mall and stay at the elegant but overpriced hotel. Family fun and entertainment wholly replaced by just buying stuff. I'll never understand it. Story 43. Fabric softeners, fabric-scented beads, dryer sheets, fabric-scented spray. We don't need all these smells. We only need clean clothes. Fabric softener was invented back when people were hanging cotton to dry in the sun. It gets stiff in the sun. Today, most clothing is mixed fabrics and are dried in dryers. You only really need a bit of static protection and maybe a minimal amount of softener on occasion. But somehow we went from liquid softener OR dryer sheets to liquid softener plus dryer sheets, then to liquid softener plus dryer sheets plus fabric scented spray plus scented beads. Crazy. Story 44. Soda's basically all canned and bottled drinks. It's insane the amount of money people spend and the waste it produces. It stressed me out to think about it. Story 45. Buying multiple colors of water bottles, any one of which should be more than enough to last you probably the rest of your life. Edit. I'm not even against spending money on a good water bottle. I own a Yeti and an Owala and use both. But I don't have 5 Owalas and 8 Yetis. There's no reason for that shoot. Story 46. Haul videos for clothes shopping. Most new clothing purchases are worn 7 to 10 times and then discarded. Textiles are a huge amount of waste. Story 47. Really dislike videos where people display fast fashion hauls. I saw one recently where the person had bought 40 items from a fast fashion source, all cheaply made and basically worthless. The unboxing was done inside their walk-in wardrobe, which was already stuffed full of clothing. Story 48. The trend of skinny people stuffing their faces with excessive amounts of food. It's even worse because skinny women do it and get called girlfriend goals, while you know if a fat girl tried, she'd only get a bunch of abuse. Story 49. Anything that's a collectible when there's well over 1 million of them. Started with Beanie Babies, but today's version is Funkos, Squishmallows, etc. Dust collections. Don't get me started on McDonald's and other fast food toys. Story 50. Stop buying cars. I say this every darn time one of these threads comes up. I have a Scion IQ. It's paid for long ago. I take very good care of it. When it's broken, I have it fixed. It runs perfectly and drives perfectly. Here's why. Taking very good care of your old car. Fixing literally. Everything that breaks is still about 120th of a new car payment in a year. My car has 170,000 miles, and it will last another 10 to 15 years. Story 51. The fact that DoorDash Uber Eats exist outside of special situations and business travelers who are working on site. People pay almost as much for delivery as they do for their food, and they'll do it several times a week, just because. Story 52. Bottled water in countries where the tap water is safe to drink. I cannot even contemplate the millions of tons of unnecessary plastic waste. Story 53. Bottled water. In most of the cities in the United States, you can drink the water straight from the tap. If you're still concerned, you can get a filter and then drink from reusable vessels. Story 54. The late 20th and early 21st centuries. All of it. The whole thing. We're going to literally suffocate under piles of our own trash. Story 55. Disney merch. 99 of it is garbage quality and no one needs a dozen ears. Hope my GF never reads this. Story 56. Bottled water, the biggest eco-disaster since the internal combustion engine. I find at least 10 a day littered around each day. Buy a reusable bottle, you lazy bastards. Story 57. Keurig K-Cups. They're so stupid for what you get out of them, and the amount of waste they produce is horrendous. Story 58. Adult content. There's an endless supply that is essentially free. You can't say that about anything else that's so addictive. Story 59. I saw a thing where kids were drinking soy sauce. That can literally eliminate you. My oldest is still only 9, and I've already started teaching him about this kind of thing. Story 60. Dish soap. You don't need to squeeze out half the bottle to clean a dish or two. A drop is enough in most cases. Story 61. Hallmark holiday. Merch, decor, costumes, gifts. Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, Father's Day, Grandparents' Day, etc. I get lots of people love Christmas or Halloween, but holy Christ on a cracker, it's getting out of hand. Answer: I totally agree, especially people who really decorate their houses, because where are they storing this stuff? That being said, there's one instance I approved of random holiday decor. I used to have a neighbor with a full-size skeleton sitting in a chair on his front porch. Every holiday or turn of the season, they dressed him up in something different, and I loved it. It wasn't anything really over the top, just different clothes or accessories, and it made me smile, especially when I couldn't immediately figure out what event he was dressed up for. One time in March, he was in a bikini with an empty liquor bottle, and it took me forever to realize it was for college spring break. Story 62. Pouring things that are sold in a container, box bag, out of said container, and into a bunch of new plastic containers you purchased solely for aesthetics. I get that it looks pretty, but it's just incredibly wasteful. Story 63. My mother-in-law had 10 bags of tortillas, 15 packages of pre-sliced cheese, 3 sour creams, 10 bottles of vodka, 20 cans of beans, etc. She had groceries delivered while we were visiting, and guess what she bought? 2 bags of tortillas, a package of cheese, a new sour cream. It was truly shocking. Then there was the entire Bath and Body Works set up in her office. Story 64. Those crazy everything shower bathroom bodega people who have like every scent of every product that 20 people couldn't use up before it expires. Story 65. Vapes are pretty bad. Some of them have little games and play music. They're tiny gadgets wrapped in plastic that get thrown out after a week. Story 66. There was a video I saw where someone showed their shower and it was stocked wall to wall, floor to ceiling with all kinds of scrubs, body washes, etc. It's honestly a sickness at that point. Story 67. Those stupid fridge restock videos, buying tons of raw fruit and veggies that will go bad before you could possibly eat them all. Story 68. Labubus. Actual adults are fighting over these bag charms. Plus, the prices become insane on the second-hand market, no thanks to resellers. I honestly don't get the appeal of them. People seem to be shelling out tons of money just to get these. Blind boxes in general seem like a waste, since it's a risky gamble. And if you don't get the design you want, you keep buying out of desperation. Story 69. Those people who have 1,000 salt, scrub tubs, or whatever, they are sitting in their shower. There is no way anyone needs or will ever use all of those. Also, there's no way they're moving all that product to regularly clean their shower. Story 70. Normally, I don't care a lot what people do or buy, but I saw the concept of a purse bowl the other day. A dedicated bowl to put the contents of your purse into when swapping over to another one. And that one really threw me. Story 71. Here in Japan, I dislike the trend of celebrating giant meal eating, overeating competitions. 4 kilos of pork cutlet bowl in an hour, etc. on TV. It all, or most of it, gets consumed. But it's such an unreflective waste of food and calories. Food waste in particular gets to me. Story 72. Cheap clothes produced at lightning speed just to be worn once for a photo and then